Hello everybody, this is Hector again with another movie review. This time I will be talking about Iron Man 3. I saw this movie last week and I'm happy to tell you that it was in fact a very good movie. It wasn't perfect, but it was very good. I will also point out what I loved about this movie and also some of my complaints. However, just like all my previous movie reviews, this one will also be spoiler free. Now, just to give you a little synopsis, this movie introduces us to a new villain, the Mandarin, played by Ben Kingsley. For the first part of the movie or so, we see that he is a very smart and powerful terrorist. He can take over the airwaves and broadcast whatever he wants. When he's on camera, he shows glimpses of terror bombings and takes responsibility for them. He seems to be on a mission against the United States, or at least for the most part. Because of how horrible the Mandarin appears to be and how much terror he's causing, people eventually look to Iron Man, Tony Stark of course, to stop him. But it's not until someone close to him is hurt by an attack caused by the Mandarin that Tony finally takes a personal stand against him. In a rather unwise move by Tony after he is surrounded by the press as he is walking to his car, he tells the Mandarin to come and get him, tells him his home address, his real home address, makes a brave public stand against him, and then drives off. Of course, the Mandarin quickly strikes at his home, and Tony barely makes it out alive. The remainder of the film deals with Tony going after the Mandarin, and also shows him dealing with personal issues like PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. Not necessarily caused by the Mandarin attack, since we understand early on in the movie that Tony is still struggling with the events that took place in New York in the Avengers, when he almost died. Now, this movie opens with a flashback to 1999, way before Tony Stark was Iron Man, and when apparently he was a different person. He's approached in a hotel one night by a man named Aldrich Killian, played by Guy Pearce. He tells Tony about some very important scientific research he's dealing with, but Tony dismisses him, probably thinking he was just some annoying, crazy person. Also, that same night, Tony deals with a young woman, Maya Hansen, played by Rebecca Hall, who was apparently involved in some very important scientific research of her own. Long story short, Tony and Maya go their separate ways, but the research continues, and then both characters, Aldrich and Maya, play very important roles later in the movie. That's pretty much it. That's the basic storyline, at least as much as I can talk about in a spoiler-free review. Like I mentioned before, I like this movie, and I thought it was very good. If you're a fan of the previous two Iron Man movies, you will like this one too, at least in my opinion. However, I do have some minor complaints about it. I will quickly go over some of the things I like and didn't like about this movie. First, here's what I didn't like. By now, if you are an Iron Man fan, you probably saw the movie already and you know what I'm talking about. I had a big problem with the Mandarin. As far as I understand, the character of the Mandarin was a big part of the promotional campaign for this movie. You saw his picture on posters, heard his voice in the trailer, etc. But, well, there's a big twist about halfway through the movie that deals with the Mandarin. It did not ruin the movie for me, but it was a little disappointing. I honestly see it as a missed opportunity more than anything else. It was like the filmmakers had a very powerful story and villain in their hands, but they dropped the ball. That's all I'm going to say. Another complaint would be War Machine. Yes, War Machine is back, but now he's basically turned into a mascot or a puppet of the United States government, even going as far as changing the colors of the suit to make him resemble Captain America. War Machine is essentially turned into a robot version of Captain America and renamed Iron Patriot. Yeah, I know it's supposed to be silly, and the movie actually knows this, because Tony and Colonel James actually talk about it at one point in the film, but it was still like, meh, it wasn't really that funny, and they shouldn't have done it. Also, without giving away the ending, this movie ends a little differently from the previous two films. I guess that is expected given that this is supposed to be the last movie in a trilogy, but it still felt a little strange. Now, don't get me wrong, I personally thought it was a very good ending, but some people might be a little turned off, as it doesn't necessarily leave you with the same level of excitement or hype for the next movie, whatever that happens to be. I guess that's not necessarily a problem with the movie. It concluded everything perfectly. There are no loose ends, not that I know of, and then the credits roll, unlike the previous films when you couldn't wait to see what happened next. Is that a bad thing? No, not really. I liked it, but I can see how some fans might be a little turned off. That's it when it comes to my complaints. As you can probably tell, there were not that many. The rest of the movie is amazing and you have to see it. I don't know how they do it, the filmmakers, but every single time a new Iron Man movie comes out, it has brand new ideas, a fresh new approach, and even different Iron Man suits for Tony. Yes, there's a new suit in this movie too, actually lots of them. Under some other director or writer, this movie would have been just Tony getting into the same suit from the first movie and just flying around punching bad guys. But the films are so creative, they always surprise me. We also see new technology and gadgets throughout the film, which is great. A lot of favorite characters return, like Pepper Potts, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, Colonel James Rhodes, played by Don Cheadle, and Happy Hogan, played by Jon Favreau. We also get to meet new characters like a kid named Harley Keener, played by Ty Simpkins. His character is actually very refreshing because 99% of children in movies are nothing but annoying and do nothing but get themselves in danger, and the hero has to waste time saving them. The kid in this movie is totally different. After you see the movie, you'll know what I mean. Pepper Potts also plays a very important role in the film, especially at the end. I won't reveal what it is or what she does, but damn, it was hot, in more ways than one, actually. After you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I thought Pepper looked really good in a sports bra. She looked so damn good, I wondered why the hell we had never seen her like that before. Talk about missed opportunities. Anyway, the movie also deals with a very important unresolved issue from previous movies, at least in my opinion. If you saw the Avengers, you remember that scene when all the Avengers were arguing with each other, especially Tony Stark and Captain America. Captain America questioned Tony's status as a superhero by implying that he was nothing without the suit. Tony in return gave a pretty clever answer, saying he was a genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. And it was very funny, but the question remained, is Iron Man all about the suit, or is it also about the man? Well, in this movie, you will get the answer. Finally, at least for those who were thinking about it this whole time. Also, before I finally end this review, let me say that this is the first Iron Man movie not directed by Jon Favreau. This movie was directed by Shane Black. If you don't know who he is, he wrote the screenplays for Lethal Weapon, The Last Boy Scout, and also one of my favorite action movies of all time, The Long Kiss Goodnight. In fact, the ending of this movie might give some people flashbacks to the ending of Lethal Weapon 2. He wrote that one also, I believe. Anyway, I thought he was the perfect choice, aside from the original director, to direct Iron Man 3. He continued the humor, action, clever dialogue, and interesting storylines from the previous two films. If you have a chance, go and see it. You will not be disappointed. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I give this movie a 9. Now, just a little note before the video is over. For those of you who follow my reviews closely, you might notice that I usually give a rating of 8 or 9 to films. Just in case you think I'm some babbling idiot who likes everything he sees, well, no, not really. I have just been very lucky with the movies I've seen. They were all good, or at least I liked them. There's a lot of movies that I hate, and I might talk about them later. If I see a bad movie, I will be happy to give it a 1 or a 2. Movies like... No, I won't mention names. We'll just have to wait and see. Well, take care, and until next time. Bye.